something getting a little easier, travel easier right now in the middle of the pandemic. Don't they know about Omicron? What the heck? Something's getting easier. What is getting easier, you might ask? Well, it's getting into Hawaii. Hawaii's been one of the more cautious states when it comes to visitors, and you can't really blame them. They're on a small island, unlike most of the other states. In fact, I think all of the other states are not islands. So because of that, they've got to be real careful with who they let in to their borders, because just like the Caribbean nations, they've got limited resources, limited space. So it makes sense for the Hawaiian government to be a little bit more cautious than others. Having said that, though, with the latest release by the CDC, that has generated some controversy of its own. That's the reduction of the quarantine period from 14 days to 5 days, or whatever it was. Hawaii is following suit. In the past, if you were unvaccinated and you wanted to visit Hawaii, you had to quarantine yourself for 10 days. They have reduced that to 5. So if you're unvaccinated and want to go visit Hawaii, it's a little bit easier to do so than it was prior to. The other restriction that they've lifted is they've eliminated a step in the process of getting approved to go visit Hawaii. If you can believe there's such a thing, there is. The process used to include a health questionnaire that you had to fill out and have submitted to the Hawaiian forces that be that would allow you to visit. They've eliminated that step. So not a huge change for most folks. Folks who are unvaccinated don't need to worry about that quarantine requirement, but makes it just a little bit easier to go visit the Aloha State and enjoy some of that sunshine and the beautiful beaches there in Hawaii. So take that for what it's worth. Something got easier, and that's a positive. We're gonna take that. In other travel news, the Trans-Bhutan Trail will be reopening in March after a 2-year refurbishment and restoration, paving the way for hikers and enthusiasts of the outdoors to enjoy this 250-mile stretch of trail that was once part of the historic Silk Road thousands of years ago. This is happening in the country of Bhutan, and if you're not familiar with that, I wasn't exactly familiar with that either, but I can tell you it's nestled in the Himalayas between China and India. All right, now for the crazy big story. Social media influencers still have to play by the travel rules. They still have to appease the travel gods. If they don't, they might get called out by their prime minister and called idiots. Can you believe this story? There are currently 100 social media influencers, like myself, not really, stuck in Cancun because they took a chartered flight, that's a private airplane, where there's nobody else on board but them. They took this airplane from Montreal, I believe, flew it into Cancun, and on the way, they had a party on the plane. They released a video showing drinking, vaping, and general excited revelry, dancing in the aisles and whatnot. You know, sounds like a fun time. If I chartered a plane, it would probably be the same way in another time. But they made a video. They shared the video. And guess what? Sometimes that has consequences. The video was brought to the attention of other airlines, showing blatant disregard for COVID travel protocols, including wearing masks on the plane and just being, in general, rowdy partiers. And now the other airlines who would be taking them home have decided, you know what, we're not going to fly you home because you broke all the rules that we set up. Even on a private plane, they can't get home because they broke some rules. Obviously, the Canadian government takes the pandemic and the coronavirus very seriously. They've got much more strict protocols and whatnot than we do here in the States. And you don't want to play around with the Canadian rules, as they are learning. Even social media influencers and reality TV stars are subject to these rules. A lot of folks might be surprised to learn that. I'm not, but some people might be. In other news, the country of Turkey has changed its name to Turkey. I'm sorry, what? Turkey? Turkey? Oh, Turkey. Thank you for joining us on this yet another episode, the actual very first episode, I should say, of, ooh, that's a motorcycle. Thanks for joining us on Adventure Made Simple, the new Travel News Digest. Have a great day. And oh, don't forget to subscribe. Did you subscribe? Hit it, the button. Hit it, right?